The animal I'm interested in is a dog. Why do they have long tails?
Hi, I'm John.
I'm Zach.
And we're biology students at UNC Asheville, here to answer your question about dogs' tails.
So why do dogs have long tails?
So why do dogs have tails? Tails can be thought of just like appendages, like arms and legs. These are products of protein expression. Let's investigate that idea a little further. All animals have something called DNA, which you can think of as a sort of blueprint for your body. This DNA controls important functions and determines things like body shape. So DNA, which is then used to create proteins, which you can think of as little building blocks and cells that ultimately create what you know as a dog's tail. Speaking of tails, did you know that humans also have a tail early in development? To explore this idea further, we're going to talk to Dr. Chris Nicolay, a professor of biology at UNC Asheville.
So what is a tail?
Well, basically a tail is the extension from the vertebral column that extends out past the hind legs. So it's an outgrowth, has a bunch of little vertebrae within it, and has a series of long muscles that control its position. Surrounded by skin, sometimes filled up with fat depending on the animal. Can be hairless or covered with a lot of hair depending on the species.
So how did tails come to be?
Well, pretty much the earliest animals that moved on land from the sea have tails. So fish have tails, vertebrates, and tails are present in virtually all of the four-legged tetrapod vertebrates that live on land. So tails were probably originally modified from the fish's tail fin and just kept because they help in balance and locomotion in a wide variety of groups. So the question isn't so much how tails came to be as why they're lost in some groups.
Do we have tails?
We have the little remnant of a tail called the coccyx, which is 3 to 5 tiny little vertebrae right at the bottom of your spine. Humans and the other apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, all lack tails. And so it's a real characteristic of us being related to apes is this loss of or not really loss, but great reduction in the size of the tail. And ours is not an external tail, but it's modified, and we actually have our muscles that would waggle the tail in a dog are designed to support our pelvis and our structures as we stand upright.
So now that we know both dogs and humans start with tails earlier in development, why do dogs keep tails? What is their function? Balance, stability, and communication. As a dog moves its tail, it wags from side to side, corresponding to signals from different muscles that function to stabilize the animal. This is similar to how we can use our muscles to move our arms back and forth. Different muscles are used for every motion. So remember, that tail is playing a real important role in Fido's movement.
Communication is also an important job for a dog's tail. This involves the dog's body position. We all know when dogs and their close relatives are wagging their tail, it probably means they are happy. But what about other poses? Arched tails show aggression, tails postured between the legs show submission, and a vertical tail and bristling mane shows dominance. A long tail is also better for communication, as dogs will respond to a long tail more easily than to a short tail. Some studies indicate that the movement of tails shows which side of the brain is active in canines. This may be related to who the dog is interacting with. In general, the tail would wag to the right when a dog saw its owner, a stranger, and very slightly when it saw a cat. It would wag more to the left when it saw another dog. So now we know. Dogs have tails as a result of development and DNA expression, a need for balance, and communication. So next time you see your furry friend, remember that there's a whole lot more to that tail than you think.